Hello, what's up? I'm Channel Pup Fanboy Supervillain. How you doing? You're looking good. Today's video is all about that really terrible Sonic Generations remaster that I don't think a lot of people actually played. And I know what you're thinking, huh? Well, it's not out yet. Who's to say it's bad? Well, that's the whole point. I got your curiosity. I'm gonna go from there. Because this particular remaster released in early 2022. Yeah, see what I mean? This isn't what you were expecting, was it? Subscribe if you haven't already, and support through Patreon is hugely appreciated. Thank you, onwards with the video. So, we are going to be getting a remaster of Sonic Generations this year, with alleged visual enhancements, though it remains to be seen, running at a silky smooth 60 frames per second, with new features including a brand new story for Shadow the Hedgehog. All done to coincide with the release of the third Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Sega want to have games out to coincide with those films and the new audiences they're going to pull in, and naturally it makes sense to lead with one of the best games, as opposed to one of the worst games, like Sonic Jam on thegame.com. Don't re-release that one, Sega. Unless it's part of like a compilation of like bad Sonic games, or maybe it's just one bad game as an extra for a bunch of good games. Actually, can you imagine if they released a compilation of the worst Sonic games? Like, they've already done the good ones. What if they did like the bad ones? Call it Sonic Turds Collection. You could have like Sonic Jam on thegame.com, you could have Sonic 2 on the Master System, Sonic Genesis GBA, Sonic Turds Collection. Get on that, Sega. Release it on April 1st, it will be hilarious. Back to the point, Sonic X Shadow Generations is not the first time that Sega have revisited Sonic Generations for quality of life improvements. As in early 2022, Sega released enhanced versions of Sonic Generations and Sonic Unleashed on the Xbox Series consoles. Now, these weren't outright re-releases so much as if you'd already bought the game, you now had some enhancements that you could try out. These upgrades included 4K upscaling, HDR support, and a boost to 60 frames per second. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pup, you're clickbaiting us again, calling this a remaster. Well, this is just some minor enhancements. Alright, then let me ask you, what is this supposed remaster of Sonic Generations that comes with Shadow Generations doing? Upscaling to 4K, 60 FPS, probably HDR support? It's the same damn thing. Not to mention, like, literally all of that stuff is available on the PC version anyway. However, this 2022 Enhanced Edition marked the first time that Sonic Generations was available to play in 60 FPS on a games console as opposed to a PC. So, if you didn't have a gaming-ready PC, you now had a means of playing Sonic Generations, or at least an alternative one anyway, in 60 FPS. Granted, I'm pretty sure everyone has access to some kind of computer, and I'm pretty sure you can run Sonic Generations on a calculator at this point. It is a very respectably optimized game. But okay, on to these sort of remasters anyways. My own setup doesn't support 4K or HDR, so I wasn't really able to try that out, but I did try out the frame rate boosts, which meant that I was able to play Sonic Unleashed from start to finish in 60 frames per second, which may as well be a selling point for Xbox Series consoles. It's one of the greatest Sonic games. But returning to Sonic Unleashed can be kinda jarring, as the frame rate is pretty terrible across the board. The thing chugs whenever Sonic runs across a body of water, which happens more often than you'd think, but not to mention it really struggles with rendering the werehog's hair. Meaning that, yeah, the werehog stages also feel pretty laggy. So that is a large chunk of the game where the performance is just kind of ass. Which means that the frame rate boost is pretty much downright essential. It fixes the most egregious problem with the game, by which I mean an actual objective issue, not just like, you know, a personal preference to not have a werehog in there. Not that I think that's invalid or anything, it's just, you know, that's kind of subjective. I will be damned if I hear people advocating for Sonic Unleashed's original frame rate. But I mean, hey, this is the Sonic fanbase. I've heard some very strange opinions here. No disrespect. If you enjoy the Knuckles TV series, I'm happy for you. The enhanced version of Sonic Unleashed is an absolute must-play. It is the definitive way to enjoy Sonic Unleashed without the interruptions of bad frame rate, making it the definitive version of that game for the time being, but I am hoping that Sega will one day give it the remaster treatment. treatment, with other quality of life improvements. Sadly though, the same cannot be said for Sonic Generations. They kinda dropped the ball with this one. I don't know what the process is like for getting a previously 30 FPS locked game to run at 60 FPS, but it definitely feels like there were some oversights when it came to Sonic Generations, which are not present in Sonic Unleashed. At first glance, yeah, everything looks fine. It looks like Sonic Generations, there's no real graphical problems here, and the boost to 60 FPS is great. It's advantageous as well. These modern boost Sonic stages really benefit from that doubled frame rate, what with how reflex-heavy these stages are. The problem is, you cannot get the optimum legitimate speedrun in this game. When I say legitimate, I mean without hacks or exploits or anything like that. The reason being is that there is a broken shortcut in Chemical Plant that has never been fixed since this game was enhanced back in 2022. It's towards the end of Chemical Plant Act 2, there's this one little pulley that you can grab onto, and it will give you a shortcut. But if you try that in the Enhanced Edition, it will just send you to your death. Yeah, not only does it not work, it kills you. This is a genuine issue. You've got a speedrun route that is just completely broken now, but it still gives you the option and the telegraph to take that route. But that is not where the problems with this version of Sonic Generations end. You see, in the console versions of Sonic Generations, they actually went as far as to offer you the chance to play Sonic the Hedgehog 1 completely free with Sonic Generations, which is kind of insane considering Sega's more recent business practices. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line they will re-release Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on its lonesome with a digital deluxe option which will enable Sonic to wag his finger on the title screen. It will unlock the third act of every zone. For an extra $10, you can unlock the level select cheat code. But back in 2011, they just surprised us by lumping Sonic the Hedgehog 1 in with Sonic Generations, which they didn't do for the Steam port. There is no way that's going to be in Sonic X Shadow Generations. Just no way. But I think the Xbox Series enhanced version of Sonic Generations proves why maybe this Mega Drive emulation didn't make it into the Steam port with the uncapped frame rate. And why it definitely is not going to be in Sonic X Shadow Generations. Because with the 60 FPS conversion switched on, this thing doesn't work. Oh, you can still play it, but you'll be playing it at half the speed. I guess doubling the frame rate of the game makes this thing run at half the speed, which makes this the closest thing we've ever had to a legitimate re-release of the PAL version of Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Guys, that was my childhood. PAL supremacy. No, but genuinely, the slowed down version of Dr. Robotnik's theme was way more threatening. Admittedly, the PAL version was not this sluggish. What we have here is maybe a little more akin to Sonic Genesis GBA. I guess you could add 60 FPS Enhanced Edition Sonic Generations Sonic 1 to the Sonic Turds collection. This is such an oversight, it's ridiculous. But I really do think it is just because you can't run this emulation in 60 FPS. And it's like, okay, is that a trade-off I'm willing to make? To be honest, yeah. There's plenty of ways to play Sonic the Hedgehog 1. But even then, man, it would have been great if they could have, I don't know, found a way. As it is, the emulation for Sonic 1 in Sonic Generations was never great. It was missing a whole load of sound effects. But it was just a cool little bonus, you know? I suppose now that we have Sonic Origins readily available, I guess this kind of thing is just redundant now. How funny would it be if where that Mega Drive was in the original Sonic Generations, there's just like a leaflet for Sonic Origins, and it's got little bits about the Plus version and the Digital Deluxe. It would be the most modern-day Sega thing I've ever seen. I can look past the Mega Drive thing, because that was always just a nice extra. I mean, I say I can look past it, I'd rather not. I would rather not look past that. I'd rather it work. But this is easier to overlook than the Chemical Plant shortcut bug. Because what the hell is that? And why has that never been fixed? Well, I guess it's redundant now. This makes this the worst version of Sonic Generations. And no, I'm not including the 3DS version when I say that. That's a different game. That is Sonic Federations. Yeah, let's go with that. But what do you guys think? Have you played the enhanced versions of Sonic Generations and Sonic Unleashed? Did you like my video? Comment below, discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, the link to the Patreon is in the description below, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos, with a special shout out going to the patrons in the $5 and above tier. They are RT0, Calex, Hypes, Sad Goku, Daredenny, SSS06, Kale Bennett, Ken K, Dazzle Fizzle, I've sent my evil clone to find some helium, Cirrus the Skeptic, Biotin. Oh no, I've used up all the helium, what am I meant to do now? Thank you folks so much for your generosity, and to all of you at home, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Now get out of here.